Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. I'm Jennings Bernard, your host. As always, we really do appreciate you tuning in and being a part of this program. Tell a friend to tell a friend that Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil is on the air. I'm your host, Jennings Bernard. It is open conversation. And if you would like to join and be a part of this conversation, the number is 901 288 5779. Again, 901 288 5779. You're more than welcome to call in and be a part of this program. We can disagree without being disagreeable. Hey, you have your opinion, I have my opinion, and yours may be strong, mine may be strong, but hey, guess what? We can debate the issue. And this day and time, what is going on in Memphis, Tennessee, politically, socially, hey, guess what? We are in trouble. And we're going to talk about what I always talk about. And I am really shocked to hear what I heard and what I saw in regard to Edmund Ford Jr. And understand this, be it known to you that if you didn't know, there have been a lot of Edmund Ford Jr. in this situation that was not prosecuted, that got away with it. If you take a minute and just think about the $77.7 million deficit, where did it go and who got it? People are not talking, but it's missing. It's missing. Do a forensic audit and find out where that money went. And I bet you that a lot of that money has gone into some of these political favors and pockets. Ain't no doubt about it. We might as well just own up to it because Edmund Ford has not been the first and he will not be the last. Some have gotten away with it and gone on to glory, have gotten rich because of the big deals that they made with big wheels while eating big meals. Edmund Ford got caught. And I'm sad to know because I know Ed and I know him well. I hate to hear that he got caught up in a situation like that. And be known that Edmund Ford has always said there's some other thing that's going on, not only what my situation was, but he promised that there's a lot other things that are going on that we don't know about that is going on. Well, I would say to you, Ed, that if some other things are going on that you talked about, and you said that this individual, and these are your words, will regret what he did or what you said he did. If you know something on this guy here and you pled guilty to it and you know that there's some shady thing that's going on with this guy, hey, this is your opportunity to do what you have to do. If they tell you that your sentence would be light if you tell on these other folks, do what you gotta do. Because I believe, without a doubt in my mind, that this individual and other individuals are caught up in things that the opportunity has presented themselves and they have gotten into it. The same thing. And let me say this to you. To all of these individuals, bam, there's another one that just popped up that we know has made big deals with big wheels while eating big meals. He didn't have a thought in his head to buy a hotel and turn it over to this Carlisle group. They got him by the seat of his pants, and he got to do
in my opinion, what they tell him to do. And for all of you politicians wanna subscribe to being an elected official, you want to be elected. Understand this. If you go into office with the mindset that you represent the people and do what's in the best interest of the people and not yourself, you will not be caught up in this situation. One of my listeners wrote on a comment page and she just said, gee, when will these people learn? And understand, you can't do as an African American what other politicians, what other races of people do. Go in there and represent the people. Now, if you're going in there to make them big deal with big wheel while eating big meal, they got you by the seat of your pants. Once you jump into that water, you beholden to them, and whenever they get ready to let you drown, they will let you drown. Now, what is more important to get contributions and make deal with these individuals, to get caught up in a situation where you don't know whether you're going to be in prison for the rest of your life. And I guarantee you, previous administration that have left these deficits are just as guilty because if they took a dime, then they are in the same position that Edmund Ford Jr. is in, but they hadn't got caught. It was said that Richard Nixon was not the first or the last that would get caught in the situation that he is. A lot of them got away. Some are doing it right in your face. And you never go, think about this, you never go to Congress or any other position, being a local joker and being a mid-class individual and come out of Congress a millionaire. What did you do while you was in Congress? Be a local joker and come out a millionaire. Those big deals are being made all the time, and I'm saying to you, right now, you sitting on that council, you sitting on that commission, you may have voted, and if you voted and didn't know what you were voting for, you just as bad as the person who don't have a clue as to what they're doing. So therefore, when you vote and you take contributions and it ties into what you voted on, you will end up in the same position. I've always said be careful of who you take money from because there is an alternative in most cases dealing with politics. They're going to come back to you and they're going to ask you to vote a certain way. And when you do that and you receive the contribution, and they can tie that contribution into what you voted for, you better ask somebody. See, when you get into politics, you're getting into deep waters, and you can easily drown by the contributions that you're getting. Now, you're not going to get contributions. When you tell a person, listen, I appreciate the contribution, but I'm going to vote my conscience, they're going to give you a dime because you won't be beholden to them. Now, you get in there and you do what they accuse Edmund Ford Jr. of doing, and he did that on his own, then that's on him. But if there's a circle of big wheels being made with big deals with individuals, then it's just a matter of time that you're going to be caught up, just like Edmund Ford. Junior is. They're just waiting on you. So, Edmund, you said that there is a lot more to this situation. And I would say to you, if it is, then tell who it is. Because we need to clean house of these individuals that are up there making those deals with those big wheels and benefiting from themselves. Now I'm going to ask you the question. $77.7 million. It's out there. It's a deficit. Why haven't anyone investigated that? Why haven't anyone looked into that? They say a forensic audit is being looked into as it relates to the school board. There's big deals being made over there because our superintendent right now was into a situation where time he got in there, he favored his wife and the school. Who does that? Why would you even make that kind of move as a superintendent unless you think you Teflon Don? You don't think you would be held accountable? Somebody needs to look into that. And if he did, which we know he did, and if he broke any law, he should be prosecuted just like Edmund Ford. We got a lot of politicians. If they pull back the curtain, if they investigate them, they will find themselves in that same position. Maybe not those new individuals who just got in there and hadn't seen the crack that these guys went into. That door was cracked and went in and got caught. And understand something. People will tell on you when they know something on you. Remember that people will tell on you when they know something on you. So my suggestion to anybody who wants to be in politics, go in for what you're there for, and that is to represent the people of your district. And you'll find out if they go and investigate and start looking and paying attention, you can wipe some of these boards clean because they are playing their game across the board. If you go back and look at the politicians in the black community that has gotten caught up in this type of situation, if you can't control yourself, if money is your priority and not the people, please don't go into politics because sooner or later you're going to be caught up in that situation. Understand, when you go in with a strong mind and your mind is to represent the people and do the right thing by the people, you won't get the contributions that most people get. Now understand this. If you can raise $250,000 in an East Memphis mansion, like Paul Young did in one night, from reliable sources that was there, that I got the information that he raised that much money. They raised it, the powers that be, because right now he's doing a good job. That money was raised for the next election coming up. That money is raised to buy you off, to get the politician to put money in and convince you that they're doing a good job. Now, anybody tells me that Paul Young or Lee Harris, any of those individuals can say what I did. Only thing you've done since you've been in there so far, and while Lee Harris, you've been in there for 8 years with nothing but tax the people. Came up with these projects. You took from Peter to pay Paul. Says that you was given the budget, but the budget failed, and now we are in a deficit. Now you're supposed to be getting the money come January 1st from the property taxes. So now you ought to be pretty well off until budget time comes, and you go to passing out money and not checks and balances. You're not checking your balance as it relates to it. You give it the money, and then they come back with something else. You give $60 million to the sheriff department to fix the sales, and then when they come back and Lee Harris found out that some of the money is not being used, he took it back from the sheriff's department. And that's where the feud came in between Sheriff Floyd Bonner and Lee Harris, county mayor. You got to understand what's going on. What did he take the money back from the sheriff's department, and what did he do with it? Where did it go? Now we in a situation that we took from Peter to pay Paul in Shelby County. You take from Peter to pay Paul in the city. Don't forget that $77.7 million is gone. When he was raising, saying about they couldn't afford to give the 2% out of the 5% that they owed to by way of negotiation to the fire department, but $77.7 million, if it was found, could have gave them, they'll raise it for this year, next year, and probably 3 years down the line. But they playing with your tax dollars, ladies and gentlemen. And don't be shocked as it relates to Edmund Ford and that situation. That situation is happening behind doors every day in politics. In local politics and national politics, is being played on you, the taxpayer. What are you going to do? Are you going to demand that Paul Young find out where our $77.7 million tax money went to? Why is it a deficit? You may not have been there, but when you took on the responsibility of being the city mayor, and that was a deficit, you had the responsibility, in my opinion, to look in and find out what that money went. Most people don't worry about what a previous administration did. They worry about theirs, but then they end up having a deficit. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a problem to me. That is the problem when one administration leave and they leave money somewhere that they abused it. Let's just put it like that. It's been abused. 901-288-5779. You can give me a call. Feel free to call me. And some of you are making comments, and hey, I'd like to hear from you. Who's next, Joyce? Yeah, somebody's out there, Joyce. They're next. They're coming. And from what I'm hearing, will it be the Shelby County mayor? That's what I'm hearing. And we'll find out. Whoever's out there that's got caught up and could do what Edmund Ford Jr.'s done, are they nervous out there? Joyce, yes. There are a lot of things that's going on in this community as it relates to our elected official. And that's what I tell you all the time. I say to you that we got to do better by the people we put in office. I say to them, Joyce, that if these people who are running for this position just to make deals or just to get paid, you don't need to run for this position if you broke. You don't need to be there because a broke man will or woman will steal every time, and then they end up going to jail at this age of their life because they got into politics and the money was good. Now I'm just put something out here. We know who Elon Musk is. We know that the power of the dollar that Elon Musk has. And I'm gonna tell you why he has the power. It's because we have weak politicians in position. Now Elon Musk took over that factory and started working on it before he got the permission to do so. Before he got the permission, from the health department, he was already over there working. Before he got the approval of the city council, he was already over there working. How can you do that? How do you know that you can start working? Y'all follow me? On a position or doing a building before you get approval. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. This man could start doing what he was doing as it relates to that plant and those turbines. Now keep in mind, all of a sudden now, he donating money to the school system. 7 million, 6 million. And the school system is eating it up. Why is he doing that? Because he's finding favor with the politician. And you get caught up in that trying to hide it behind contributions. If they really want to find out what you're doing, they can find out, ladies and gentlemen. And we got to start putting the right people in office, the people who have a strong back and nobody can ride their back. Those are the people that we need to put into office. And please don't run. Don't run for a position if you broke. Because if you broke, you're going to do some things. You're going to make bad decisions because you broke. You got this paycheck coming in and it's not enough to do what you need to do. And somebody will come to you and say, hey, you can do this, that, the other, pick up this money, and you fall into that trap. You're going to be standing eventually in front of a judge in a courtroom. Because once they get you, once you accept it, you are caught, ladies and gentlemen. You're caught. And there is nothing you can do about getting out of that trap. And if you get too vocal, understand this. If you get too vocal about the people that you're representing, especially the black people, if you get too vocal as a politician in that position that is not helping the powers that be that throw the money at you, then they'll find a way to make sure you don't get reelected. And I'm saying this is that we need to make the decision, not the money, folks. Stop following the money when it comes to signs in the yard. I used to hear people say, you know, I didn't know you was running. And I said, why is that? They said, well, I didn't see a lot of your signs. So what do signs have to do with it? And that says to me, you're not doing your homework. You're looking for signs. Matter of fact, Someone told me that in regard to Tawana Murphy. They said, well, I voted for her because I saw most of her signs. Now, what do that say about the people who live in that district that would say, I just saw a lot of her signs, so I voted for her? See, stop looking at signs because signs are not telling you the clear information about that candidate. Do your research. I mean, it's so easy now to find out what you need to find out by just Googling individuals and candidates. Find out their history. What have they done for the community lately? You can tell then what type of candidate that you're going to stop going with name recognition. Stop going with, oh, this is so and so son, and he is a family member of this family member. They got a well recognized name, and you go in and, oh, yeah, I remember that name, and you push it in and don't know anything about the candidate. But there, I feel it in my bone. There is going to be others besides Edmund Ford Jr. There's going to be others that sitting right now and nervous as you know what, because they wondering when that knock on the door is going to come because they know what they did. And you sit there in that seat of power and you abuse it for self gain. To me, that is a problem. See, I learned a long time ago to make my own decision. Know when to say yes, know when to say no. They used to say if you don't pass the smell test, then there's something wrong with that situation. But greed, that's a powerful word, and greed is something that most, but not all, people fall in the trap of greed. I sit and listen to, and I thank God that these kids were saved by the sheriff department. But they ran that story so much that every time I looked up, it was on some channel. And God bless the deputies who saved those children. But it was in rotation so much. And see, you get those subliminal messages. We got an election coming up dealing with the sheriff department. And when you see over and over and over again, you remember, oh, the sheriff department did this, and this individual is running for sheriff in the upcoming election. That message make you think, okay, they're doing a great job. It was a great job rescuing those children that fell into the ice. But what have you done lately as a department as a whole? The jail is a mess. If you cannot, as the second in command, can't get with the first in command and figure out the jail problem, what make you think that the second in command, if he's elected to be the first in command, the sheriff, and he couldn't fix it when he was the second along with that sheriff, what make you think he gonna figure it out when he becomes the sheriff? And you all know what I'm talking about. We got to get to the nitty gritty. We got to get to the real understanding of what is taking place in front of your face when it comes to politics. I say to you, every politician that once they get in the office, they need to be drug tested. I believe that. I don't believe that one judge that made that mistake and got caught. You think that there's not individuals that sit on the bench or anywhere else that may not do what they call recreational use? Well, one reason and one way to prove that they don't, give them the drug test. The job, the sheriff's department, periodically drug testing. What's wrong with drug testing? Everybody that sits in a chair of power have a vote or can sentence you to jail to make sure that they're not recreational use. It's time for this foolishness to stop. It's time to tell the truth and shame the devil. I'm not saying that all of them. I'm just saying put actions in front of them to make them do better. And understanding when they know that they're going to be drug tested, whether it's a judge, whether it's a congressman, or whether it's a senator, state, local, whatever the position is, that they know that they got to be drug tested, they will probably do better. Or you will find out that they tested positive as opposed to negative. Money missing, and you all don't raise in the sand. You sitting here cannot rub two nickels together, excuse me. But they sitting there banking on you because of where they sit and where you elected them to the position to sit in those seats. I just think we need to hold them accountable. That's called policing the politician. We need to police our community. We need to police our elected official. And I'm just putting it out there. And it's going to be up to you to start doing the right thing, making sure that the right measures are taken when it comes to these politicians. And some of them just wanted to be actors, and some of them get in front of you and they just act, and you think, oh wow, she's really speaking up, she really doing this, he's really doing that. In the long run, you'll find out it's just a play to them. It's just a role to them. It's not to take care of you. Look at your city. Look at your area. And you know they're not doing anything for you, but everybody else is being taken care of but you. And I find that to be a problem, ladies and gentlemen. We got to do better. And I pray for all of you who are trying to get into these positions and you're too weak to do the right thing. You're going to get caught up unless you stand up. If you hold your head high and recognize that this is a trap that you're getting into. When people come to you, they think they got more sense than you have, and they're trying to persuade you to vote this way and to do that. And then you get in that trap that you can't get out. And then they'll let you know later on, you need to vote this way. Because you already voted, you in the trap. And now you can't get out of it. That is a problem that exists. And you, the voter, has the power to correct this mess. Look at our city. Still the most dangerous city in America. Google it. See what they're saying. I put videos out there where they name the city. The cities that are ranked in the top 10. And lastly, but first, it's always Memphis, Tennessee. It's corruption in this city on every hand. But I do believe, in my opinion, that sometimes when you speak up, and you're speaking up for the wrong side of the people that they consider that you shouldn't speak up about, then you end up being in a situation. I'm gonna just say it plain and simple. I don't believe that Edmund Ford is the only one across the board, across every board, from the school board to the county commission to the city council. In my opinion, I think it's a lot more than Edmund Ford Jr. You've been listening to Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. I'm Jenny Bernard, your host, and I appreciate you tuning in and being a part of this program as always. Yes, George, I wonder as well who will be next. And there's a next out there. It's a next. As long as there is a deficit out there, whether it be in the county or whether it is in the city, and there's a deficit, there is someone that received that deficit money because you haven't tried to tell us where that $77.7 million went to. Where is it? And the person who's supposed to be the comptroller, he has an awesome responsibility to know where the money went. Why haven't we talked to him? Why haven't we investigated to find out, did he do his job or do he know where the money went? And I guarantee you, it went in somebody's pocket. In my opinion, it went into somebody's pocket because you're not addressing the 77. What you do? All right, we got $77 million deficit. Well, we just going to increase the taxes. And here we go again, increasing our taxes to cover up the deficits. They said overly, we have to take from Peter to pay Paul. When they don't raise your taxes to take care of the business, but they want more money from you. And how they gonna get more money from you? By raising your taxes. Whether it be the wheel tax or whether it be property tax or whether it be any other taxes, it's always in any administration in this city is taxed their way out of it. But there's a deficit. Let's vote, ladies and gentlemen, the right way. Use your common sense. God gave it to you. But see, people will convince you not to use it. But use the common sense that you know what's going on. Use the common sense when you look around and see that this city is in chaos. Use the common sense that you know that this city was in chaos before the task force got here and the crime is going down. You see the arrests, you see the children that's been returned back to their family members that was found running around and racing around in these cars with these individuals when they stopped and they ran, checked, and found out, oh, by the way, this young lady is missing doing their job. How many did the MPD do before the task force got here? How many arrests of convicted felons or people with warrants? How many was done before? So, liar Paul Young, stop lying to the people. But you got to lie to the people for the people to believe, besides those who gonna vote for you anyway because of an organization or whatever. But I'm talking about all of those people that Paul Young only won with 24,000 votes, and there's 600,000 or more citizens in Memphis. Those people who did not vote in that last mayor election, if you can, out of that 600 some thousand people, get up, Paul Young would have never been elected. Because all of those individuals are not but a part of sorority or fraternities. They are people that's out here who have the power to vote, but they are so disheartened as it relates to what's going on, and they say, well, I'm not going to vote. And that's a big mistake, ladies and gentlemen. You got to vote. And this is the chance for us to turn this thing around. I'm going to do my part to help you to turn it around. Because I've been seeing this, I've been dealing with this for as long as I can remember as they go back to politics. As long as I can remember as a young man voting, I've seen it. I've been with politicians and I supported them, but I saw the big deal being made back in the day and still are doing it to this day. Ladies and gentlemen, let's wake up. Let's do the right thing when it comes to what is taking place in this city. Ladies and gentlemen, I always do appreciate you tuning in and bringing things up to you that makes you go, that you think about it. I appreciate you all for subscribing to this program. And as we get into the political season, you're going to see candidates. We're going to have a list. We're going to outline them. We're going to ask the question when they come in. And one question is going to be asked. And that question is, if you are elected, would you be in favor of being drug tested while in office? Not before you get in office. I'm talking about while you're in office. That would be a step to start turning things around, holding them accountable as to how they voted and why did you vote that way. See, that's the problem. When they vote, there's nobody to check them on their vote. There's no one to call them and say, hey, you voted on this item here. Why did you vote for that? Not just one or two people, but a bunch from that district. Go out to the meeting when they have a town hall meeting and ask those questions. That's your right. That's your job to do. When they have those meetings, don't let them just come out and show and you don't show up. Hold these people accountable. As always, I really do appreciate you tuning in and being a part of this program. It is open conversation, and you know you can call the number at any time and tell me what's on your mind. What do you think that we ought to do as citizens in this community? Politics is at hand. Big deals are being made behind the scenes, and you don't have a clue. Or it's going to get rough in your community because of all of this ice and this snow that's been on the ground, and the potholes are going to get bigger now. If you already had potholes in your community, you're going to get bigger potholes. And what is your representative going to do? Not a thing, but sit back and play you. As always, I really do appreciate you and ask that you subscribe, and thank God for all of you. The numbers are great. When I look at them at the end of the month, they are great. You're listening, you're watching. The viewership is out there, and we're going to continue to do what we do until we can't do it anymore. And then hopefully somebody will step in and do the right thing to keep you informed. I created this platform, just to keep you informed. I talk about issues, and we're going to talk about something on tomorrow. And they talk about the Bluff City Classic. And I put some things out there about it, and I made a mistake and said Mississippi State, when it was Jackson State and Tennessee State. And I'm going to say this, and I'll leave you alone. That the Bluff City Classic will never be the same until they get Jackson State and Tennessee State back in, because that was a following. And Deion Sanders brought out the truth when it came down to what they was getting to come here to play ball, to entertain the alumni of these two schools. But the word came out that Fred Jones was taking most of the money. And that's why Deion Sanders brought this out. And I thank God for him. But the Classic would never be the same again. And I've said that and I hold truth to that. We'll talk about that tomorrow and a lot more. In the words of my grandmother, let me say this. We on YouTube, Spotify, X. We want you to subscribe as well. But subscribe to this program here and share it with your friends. In the words of my grandmother, she used to always say, if it's the Lord's will and the creek don't rise, we'll see you on tomorrow. And remember what I said. I said, trust everyone, but do not trust the devil inside of them. God bless. You take care. And politicians, beware of the footsteps that's coming your way if you didn't do the right thing. God bless. Take care. Good night.